Did you know that the average college graduate owes more than $37,000 after graduation? And less than 54% of high school graduates heading off to four-year colleges actually graduate within 6 years. Hello, I'm Janila Freelane, author of Free Money for College and the founder of Encouraging Words College Prep. Now, in my new book, I tackle these issues head on. It is filled with more than 50 tips, resources, programs, and college and career preparation information. My new show on the Wake Up Call Radio and TV Broadcasting Network is an extension of that book. Each week, you will be inspired by a tremendous student or a tremendous community leader, and sometimes both. You'll also learn how to save money on college costs. So tune in each week to get inspired and learn something new all at the same time.
Thanks for tuning in to Encouraging Words. I am Janila Freelane, your host, and it's a pleasure to be here today. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're watching and you're tuned in. Now, what I want you to know about this show is it's really for college and career-bound students and parents as well. This show is going to be a resource. We'll provide you with tips on college and career preparation. We want you to leave after watching the show being inspired, understanding how to reduce college debt, and understanding and learning the benefits of planning early. And today I have a special guest with me today. I'm going to tell you more about her in just a minute. It's a really special guest, and I'm sure after you guys see the show, you'll agree as well. Just to let you know a little bit about myself, this is actually our first show, so this is the inaugural show. And we're really excited about it. And really, this show was birthed or is an extension of a book that I wrote just a little less than a year ago. The title of the book is Free Money for College, and it's more than 50 resources, programs, and resources for college and career preparation. And the point of the book was really to help students and parents be more strategic and intentional when it comes to college and career planning. So many people go into an enormous amount of debt unnecessarily when it comes to college and career planning, or not even college and career planning, but college period, or not knowing maybe what career programs are available to them, or knowing what resources they could tap into beforehand. Absolutely. And here's the deal. If you start as early as middle school, you can literally save yourself thousands and thousands of dollars. So that's kind of what you'll be able to expect from our show. Inspiration, learning how to reduce college debt, and then understanding the importance of planning early. And what I love about talking about planning early is transitioning here to talk about my friend Rochelle Gray.
Yes.
She's one of my favorite people on the planet, I promise you. Now, Rochelle Gray is actually the host of a show called MI Project.
That's right.
The MI Project stands for Multiple Intelligence. And multiple intelligence, tell us a little bit about what that is.
Well, we have gifts and talents, and God has ordained that we would have 9 in terms of areas. We all have 9. Most of us have a strong 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. And sometimes as a parent, you can be a great speaker, but also you might have been told as a kid, oh, you're a great student, but you talk too much. No, you're linguistic, and you need to teach to that. Gotcha. So that is the purpose of the Multiple Intelligence Project, to identify those intelligences within our youth and our adults, get them walking in, claiming and owning in, exposing them to 100 to 300 careers, and then getting them possibly to do a service or become an entrepreneur. Absolutely. And I'm really excited about the MI Project.
Right. And I think what excites me about what you do most in relation to the Multiple Intelligence Project is it goes hand in hand with what I was explaining before. If you can start as early as even elementary school, but generally I began working with students as early as 6th grade. The reason that early planning is so critical and so key is if you can identify what your area of genius is and what you're gifted in, that can show you some of the different paths or expose you to some career opportunities you hadn't thought about before or you didn't even know existed.
And resources.
Oh my gosh, there's so many resources out there, some of which are free or some of which are so reduced. But again, if you can begin utilizing those early, it can make a world of difference and change your life literally. So now I know, of course, you do the Multiple Intelligence project, and that show is taking off, and I'm glad I was a part of that show.
Thank you.
And I want you to tell them, though, what all you do, because I know you're an educator, you're a community leader, you're a good buddy.
Yes, I'm a great buddy. Well, my company is Empower the Youth. That's the flagship. And Empower the Youth goes hand in hand with what you do. There are children that want to go to college and don't have the resources.
Okay.
So I begin to look at all the avenues, and God has given me a heart for boys. And most of my boys are always in some type of sport. But when I was coming up, because my dad was Navy trained and college educated, I was exposed to chess and bowling and roller skating, and those were some of the things I didn't see happening when I came to Charlotte. So in New Jersey, most of our high schools have bowling teams, and I know and knew that you can bowl your way to college and never pay a dime.
Now explain what you mean by that, because I don't
Okay.
think the listening
Alrighty.
audience even understands what you mean.
Well, bowling has many companies that have tournaments.
Okay.
And what happens is when you bowl, for example, with Empower the Youth, we get you USBC, United States Bowling Corp certified.
Okay.
And what happens is they open a smart account in your name. So you can be as young as 4.
Okay.
We do 6 to 21.
Wow.
But I have some 4-year-olds that are bowling. They went into college. And
I'm not mad at
no, I'm not either. And I'm going to tell you one that I met yesterday. And so as they win in tournament, because we have 2 colleges that support us, and there are 141 colleges that have bowling teams, and I'm not going to stop until they know every Empower the Youth bowler that I have.
Okay.
And what happens is as they win tournament, money is given to them. They win, and the money goes into their smart account. And then when they turn 18 or graduate, all money is turned over to their parents.
So
that's the other
genius.
awesome. It is, because the money doesn't go to the school; it goes to you.
Right.
And then on that, going even further, I have some kids that are there for social reasons. They're not concerned about tournaments.
Right.
So my company also will fundraise, and again, when they graduate, we get to come to their sports night, and we get to give them a check for whatever amount we either have fundraised for or that they have earned with being a part of our league. And I'm really excited about the league. We represent right now 23 schools across Charlotte,
Okay. That was
all
the question I had
ages.
for you.
And I met a young man yesterday. He's 4.
Oh,
His brother's
okay.
7, because I have elementary, middle, and high school. And he said his brother wants to be a coder. He wants to be a YouTuber, excuse me.
Okay.
He's 7. See, that's what we do. Okay? We identified early.
And I'm not
And I'm not mad. And I said, you could be a YouTuber at 7. I'm glad you know what a YouTuber is at 7.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
his brother said he wants to be Batman. He's 4.
Okay.
So I said, well, where's your cape? He says, well, I haven't earned it yet. And I said, well, what do you know about Batman? He said, well, I know he was an inventor, and I know that he was rich. And I was like, I'm not mad at you.
right.
So that is what I get to see on Sundays with my bowlers and with the Multiple Intelligence Project, because once they find out what their genius is and they walk in it, they're amazing.
Okay, and I think that's outstanding. Now, another thing is you're an educator. So
I am.
tell me a little bit about your background. How did you get into education?
Oh, God, that was God all the way.
Okay, explain.
Well, a lot of us, too, based on where, especially we feel we're led of God. I knew in 3rd grade I was going to be a teacher. I had a great teacher in 3rd grade. But coming up, when we did, there wasn't a lot of diversity.
Right.
And I grew up in New Jersey and in Newark at the time, and we had the riots. So, of course, you had white flight because people were scared once Dr. King passed away.
Right.
And but my dad said, educators don't make money. Computers is the thing. So, of course, my generation, we listened to our parents.
Of course.
So I went to be, and I was very good at computers, but I felt stifled, like chained to a desk.
Wow.
And when I got married, made a decision, I talked to my ex-husband and said, you know, I think it's time. And he says, I think it is too. So I went to take my daughter to school one day. She was 2nd grade.
Right.
And I come upon this little boy, and he is crying, and he's little, and the teacher's standing up there, and my first thought was like, why is she all the way up there when he's all the way down
towering
here?
over him.
Right. And I went up to him, and I said, can I talk to him? Because I was known in the community, I was on the Board of Education, and she said, yes. And I said, I just need you to breathe. And I'm really upset that you're crying, but I'm right there with you. Just breathe for me. And he's like,
That's probably
and I
just
said,
what he needed to
yes.
hear right
And I
there.
said, now tell me what happened. He said, he took my ball.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that's what I said. And I said, well, we got to go get your ball. And I looked at the
That's
teacher
right,
like,
that's right.
you could have did this.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? And then I said, you know what, I think I'm going to go, and I'm going to try to be a teacher assistant. And got the position, walked in the room my first day, And this young lady who I know to this day, and we laugh about it because she's already graduated college.
Okay.
She turned a cartwheel into the classroom. And the teacher looked at me, and I looked at him, and then I looked at her like, sit yourself down.
Right.
And she looked at me, and I looked at her, and she sat down, and I was like, we have to do this.
So from a
Oh my God!
your daughter.
Yeah, and then
And that sparked an interest there.
absolutely, and I did well as a teacher assistant, and I went to go further, and and the enemy gets in the way of things because people don't understand, and I always
knows
pray,
what your mission is.
and people don't know when they're being used, so I don't get into that. I just pray for
Right.
them, and I keep going.
Absolutely.
And I remember one day I had an interview, and I laughed because I had, this is long for me for hair, and which will be cut soon. And I had the 3 earrings on the day, and the leather pants, and then the secretary said, "You have an interview today," and I was like, "No, I don't." And she was like, "You're Rochelle Gray," and I was like, "Yes, I am." She says, "You have an interview." And I was like, okay, because I'm looking urban today.
Right.
So if I get this guy, it's all about you. That's right.
Yes,
And
yes,
but I walked into this round table. I had to have all these people.
Yes.
And God is powerful. He allowed me, the Holy Spirit, to soliloquy to every question they asked. I was already answering the next question.
Right.
And when you get up and you leave, and they say, "Well, we'll be in touch with you," and everybody else was like, "Well, you're the low man on the totem pole. You probably don't be." If you don't
This is
get
what
it,
people outside you were
absolutely.
saying.
And I was the low man on the totem pole,
But
but God
favor.
can do all things. That's right, and it's not fair. So, unbeknownst to me, as soon as I walked out, the father said, he was a wealthy white gentleman. He made drugs as a druggist, a chemist for block drugs. And if you come from the north, block drugs is really big.
Okay.
And he said, "I want her."
Okay.
And I came out. They had to call me that same day. And I was like, "Oh, look at God!"
Wow.
And it's just been, and he has given me a heart for boys, and I have 2 girls, which is very interesting. Which makes sense, right? Because there's nobody to be jealous, and girls know how to do it on boys. And to this day, he has just given me a heart for boys, and it's my mission to get them to be young men and to have men in their lives when they don't, and to hear the thunder versus the rain of the women, and to make sure that they walk in their purpose, and then they get to see him. Because you do not be surprised. Kids do watch, and they do listen, and even when you don't say God, they know you love God.
Absolutely. I think they can see the joy.
Absolutely.
They can see the peace. They can see that inner spirit. Even
And
though they
listen.
may not be able to articulate it, they know that it's something different.
And I always
they
tell
count
them,
on that.
"You're covered." So what they're like, "What's that mean?" I was like, "You're covered." They're like, "Because you know God, right?" And as soon as you come into understanding, you'll know him too. So there's been some times when some things would happen, and God would send someone to do something. Like we had a kid once who was going to be sent to ISS because he didn't have the proper uniform, which grieves me. And no one asked him, but his brother had taken his pants that day because he had to graduate school and he only had one pair.
Okay.
But instead of staying
So
home,
they shared pants up here.
well, it was actually his. His brother probably hadn't cleaned his, or he
okay.
outgrew them, but nobody asked
We've
him.
seen how siblings operate.
Yeah, and I got it first, so I got the pants.
Okay.
But he didn't stay home. He came to school, and I honored that. And he was going to have to go to ISS because he wasn't properly dressed. And another one of my students, he's the closet, the locker person. You know how they change, and they got the other set of clothes, but you gotta. So I said, "Sure, I'm go upstairs and call your mother, tell her bring your pants." And he did. And when she got there, because I had already told him you covered, so you're not going to ISS, you're covered.
Right.
And when we got upstairs, Sean's mother said, "Oh, and here's another pair of pants for your other kids."
Oh, okay.
And Sean's head whipped around, and he
Okay.
said, "He's covered." I was like, "Go take his pants."
So the fact that you were able
absolutely.
to intercede like that.
And it's like that all the time. So that's the thing about being a teacher.
Cool.
You know, so.
And we've talked all this time, but tell me again, what grade is it that you teach?
8th grade.
Eighth grade. A certain subject? Or?
I teach history. I teach social studies.
Okay, now, how did you get into that?
That's really interesting because I didn't grow to love social studies until I got to college
Really?
because it's the presentation. So the first thing I did was, who likes social studies? Not. But the first thing I give them is I have them do a historical timeline.
Okay.
And the things that they find out, a lot of kids don't know what happened the day they were born. My dad fell out in the operating room. Maybe there was something I almost wasn't born, like my daughter was breech. A young lady find out her grandfather was a conquistador, a Spanish explorer and bullfighter, and she never knew.
Wow.
So when they see
How
all the
remarkable.
broken arms and things they've had and all the history cannot be boring because your life is not.
Yeah.
But it's the presentation. So if you give me the opportunity I didn't write the book, but 80% of the time you'll love history.
Okay.
And then that generally is what
So
happens.
you make it come alive and you make it relative
Absolutely.
to them as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, great,
So-
great. Now, I know you're doing some things, I believe, with a chess team, and we, of course, talked about bowling, which is one of the
Right. Well,
non-traditional
Empowered
sports.
Youth does the non-conventional sports. So we bowl. I have a free program at History Grove Rec Center for Chess. I have some great kids that are chess players. And that is my dream, just to expose them to things so they have opportunities, just they think differently. And we're going to launch golf this year. And God is amazing because where is my
exciting.
daughter's first job?
Top
golf.
Yeah.
God is just...
And they're passionate.
You know what I'm saying? And I've even met that gentleman that operates that $22 million facility.
Wow.
And I told my daughter, I said, if he walks out that door, you know,
The
God
local
sent him.
location is worth that, or
Oh no,
nationally?
one. Just a
one
local.
location.
One location.
Okay.
And they own
Great.
33. They're two brothers out of Europe. They own all 33.
Wow.
They're not even a franchise.
And think of that exposure even. Now here's the thing. One of the things that I've mentioned, and I'll say again and again and again, and every time you watch this show, you'll get a different college or career preparation tip. But early college and career preparation and exposure is key. So just think about if you have one of those students that go on to be maybe a professional golfer based
Absolutely.
upon what you provided for them.
Absolutely.
Or maybe they go on to be a professional bowler based upon what you've exposed them
And that's
to.
exactly right.
Or even if they utilize, maybe they get into those two things and they don't like either one, but they now have at least an open mind to be receptive to something that's not traditional and not something that everybody in their neighborhood is doing.
And you're absolutely right, because the one thing that golf, and even he said, it's not about knowing how to play golf, it's knowing how to network. It's knowing how to sell
And
yourself.
how many deals are made on the golf course?
And that's exactly
I was in
right.
real estate once upon
That's
a time, and I
exactly
can
right.
tell you, that's a powerful
And
tool,
even with chess,
resource.
I had a gentleman, he weighs about 250. He's a sophomore at Morris Park. Amazing kid. But he's going to be challenged.
He's a sophomore and he's 250?
Yeah, he's a football player.
Wow. Oh, yeah,
And
I
he's
was
a
just
chess
gonna say,
player, and he's a bowler. He's amazing.
Okay,
But
so
I've
he's a
literally
Renaissance man.
seen him toe-to-toe with a kid that he could probably pick up and throw down the hall.
Wow.
But he's a chess player. He's already thought, strategic, he's already 5 steps
Okay.
ahead. So he knows if he does this, he's going to get suspended 10 days, 50 classes, okay. And I'm sitting there eating lunch, and he's like, oh, your boy getting ready to fight? Okay. You ain't going to say nothing? Nope,
Based
he's been
upon
taught.
that chess. The analytical
He has to make
skills,
it
the critical thinking
exactly
skills,
right.
again, the
He's very
intangible
prepared.
things that come as a result of that are great. And the thing is so important because something that a lot of people don't realize, this is an article I was reading not too long ago in U.S. News and World Reports, is that out of all the students that go to four-year colleges and universities once they graduate from high school, so if they're going to a four-year college or university immediately after high school, traditionally, only 53.2% of those students actually finish their bachelor's degree in 6 years.
Wow.
Now, it only takes 4 years to complete a bachelor's degree, but even if you give an extra 2 years, only 53.2% of those students or those high school graduates are actually completing their bachelor's degree. That tells me we're failing, and that tells me we have to turn things around. There has to be a paradigm shift overall,
Absolutely.
and that's what this is about. So
Absolutely.
it's a little bit of financial literacy, a lot of college and career preparation, and some wonderful opportunities to hear about resources and individuals like yourself. So I want to say thanks for watching and thanks for tuning in, definitely. Something else that I want to end with is an affirmation that my mom gave me years ago. And this is something she had my friends and myself to recite. So I always end with this. Actually, I'll give you one tip on college and career preparation in terms of saving money, and then I'll get into that. First thing is just in terms of saving money, if you're in 6th through 9th grade, so you haven't even gotten to your junior and senior year yet, one of the things you could do in terms of college prep is understanding that you can go to sporting events and athletic events. Don't wait till your junior and senior year to do your college tours. You know, with a lot of non-traditional sports, when
Absolutely.
you're going on a college campus, a lot of those sports are not well attended, so you can go to those games and things for free. And
true.
everybody somewhere has some college or some university that's not too far around. So maybe it's something like synchronized swimming. Maybe it's a tennis match that you go to. Maybe it's a golf tournament or a
That's right,
cross-country
even
tournament.
bowling.
Those are some things you could do. If you're into theater, if you're a person who's into the arts, you love performances, you can go visit a college campus, whether it's a community college or a large university in your area, and visit a play or some theatrical performance that they're doing. If you're a person who's into learning and you maybe want to learn from a certain lecture or that sort of thing, lectures are typically free on a college or university. And even if they're not free, heck, they're usually less than $10 or $20. So it's worth it for you to go or for a parent and a student to go. And then last but not least, one other tip that's inexpensive, costs you nothing, and it can really open up your world in terms of opportunities is checking out special events. If there's a toy drive or a 5K at that college campus, that's something that you could do. Again, costs you nothing or a minimal cost and investment, and it makes college much more tangible for that younger student. And again, the more tangible it seems or that it is, the more achievable. It's right within your reach if you've already been visiting a campus on a regular basis. It doesn't seem like something other people do. It seems like something you do because it's something that you've experienced time and time again.
That's right.
So I'm going to wrap up with this affirmation, and it's simply this. You are great. You are a unique, new kind of person that the world has never seen before and will never see the likes of again. You were born to do good. You were born to succeed. You were born to bless others' lives. You were born to be great because you've got what it takes to be great. You're enthusiastic. You're organized. You're optimistic. You're a hard worker. You're happy. You're a master of yourself. You're a big thinker. You're a leader. And blessed as you are with all these talents, with God as your partner, you will never fail. Thanks for watching the Encouraging Words Show. Tune in next week.